Evacuation operations and equipment for the community of persons with disabilities and special needs. A breakout group was convened with the task of identifying priority areas for immediate focus as related to evacuation operations and equipment for the disabled community. In conducting this session, it was noted that other organizations, such as the National Emergency Number Association, or NENA, and the Rehabilitation Engineering and Assistive Technology Society of North America, RESNA, should be included in future work resulting from this workshop. Relevant findings for standards needs are outlined below. 1. Stair evacuation devices. Additional work is required related to standards-based solutions for product standards for the evacuation devices for mobility impaired persons, as well as the placement and installation, usage, maintenance, operation, and storage requirements for such devices. 2. Communication for 911 call centers. Problems have resulted from individuals relying on older communication devices to relay emergency contact information in an area where standards are needed. Training. Standards-based solutions and conformity assessment programs are necessary to address levels of training attained as well as potential accreditation for first responders. Public input. Workshop participants were presented with the opportunity to weigh in on ideas, share experiences, and provide suggestions for future focus in moving the workshop initiatives ahead. Items and needs discussed include the following. 1. Standards for evacuation planning and preparation. 2. Product standards on evacuation for chairs or descent devices to current or new built environment. 3. New standards or revised standards to integrate emergency alerting abilities. 4. Single location for demographic data on the community of persons with disabilities. 5. Standards on functional medical emergency shelters and operation of these facilities. 6. Research to determine what standards and guidance has been developed and by whom. 7. Standards for 911 communication procedures for 911 dispatch operators and associated services. 8. Potential for expanding the ANSI-DHS Homeland Security Standards Database, or HSSD, to include topically relevant categories. 9. Public education related to standards dealing with persons with disabilities. 10. Standards for integration of persons with disabilities and special needs into emergency disaster training, exercises, and drills. 11. Need for federal policies and guidance on written policies. 12. Standards to address transportation needs and plan for evacuation processes. 13. Standards for wireless emergency communication. 14. Bring together a task group of volunteers to develop a list of standards related to persons with disabilities. Next steps. 1. The ANSI-HSSP will form a task group to identify a course of action that can be used to approach U.S. Standard Developing Organizations, SDOs, to formally begin work in identifying and prioritizing specific needs, including public education, enhanced federal policy, transportation needs, as well as various other issues outlined in the final workshop report. This group will identify existing standards that have relevance, as well as those that should be expanded in scope or developed to address specific needs. 2. The ANSI-HSSP will work to develop input to code developing organizations, state, local, and government agencies for use in their policy development procedures. 3. While several key stakeholders were represented at this workshop, it is clear that there are others that were not in attendance that could contribute to the recommendations outlined above. 4. It is imperative that outreach strategies be identified to advance standardization efforts, addressing the needs of the community of people with disabilities. In conclusion, the partnership the ANSI-HSSP has developed with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, as well as with SDOs, the Disability Advocacy Group, and the Disabilities and Special Needs community, plays an integral role in addressing the needs for standard-based solutions for a more effective emergency preparedness. Additionally, this partnership will continue to grow as the ANSI, through its HSSP, remains dedicated to proactively responding to the needs and rights of people with disabilities and special needs.